Hey guys, Johnny here from Optizen. In one of my previous videos, we looked at how a user of the Optizen app for Shopify had greatly improved their organic traffic and rankings of their collection pages and tag pages using Optizen. And we looked at sort of how their traffic's improved and what they did. But what I'm actually going to do in this video is actually walk through how we're using it with the same concept. So adding content to collection pages and tag pages, or what are now editable sub collections on Shopify, to improve traffic and rankings really quite quickly. And it's super simple, super easy to do. There's no rocket science here. It's just having that process in place. So I'll walk through how we do that with an example. I'll also show a recent example of a page that is improved in its rankings and traffic because of that process. Okay, so looking at one of our test sites. So this particular page, it was doing okay, but you can see here, this is in Ahrefs. It was ranking for some keywords, but it wasn't really doing much for the main keyword we were going after, which had 200 searches per month. And then you combine all these, and obviously there's a lot more. So that was the main keyword we wanted to go after. So with the process I'm going to go through in a second, this is a term that we're going after. And you can see here at the start of October, so we're now the 17th of October, it was ranking position 13. So it had been hovering around that for a while, hadn't really done much. We are getting a bit of traffic to the page, but not as much as we want. And this particular term here is obviously the best term we want to go after. So we implemented the method I'm going to talk about in a second using Optizen. And now if we have a look at the rankings, so we go to in Australia riding tights. So obviously the SERPs have changed a lot with the way Google now actually serves content for e-commerce, which is, has some benefits, but also it makes it a little trickier when you're actually going after organic content, organic rankings. So you need to make sure you've got some sort of process to get as high as you can in the search results. And it's also going to then help improve getting into positions like this people also buy from. So, and we're finding when we work on this method, we're also popping up in this people also buy from a lot more frequently as well. So you can see here now we're in the middle of page one, so position 6 or 7. So it's moved up quite a bit, and because of that, we've started to get more traffic for that particular keyword, and transactions on that collection page have also increased. Okay, so if we actually go and have a look at the page itself on the front end, you can see it's just a standard Shopify collection page. It's actually a sub-collection, so with Optizen we can make the editable components such as the SEO title and the H1 page title, description, etc. We can make all that unique and indexable in the search engine. So we've got a much better chance of ranking those sub-collections and keeping them in nice, relevant, tight clusters for a main topic and then a sub-collection of that topic. So before we actually implemented the content change on this particular page, it was just the page looking like this with the description as it is here. And if we scroll on down now to the bottom of this particular product grid, we can see now we have content below the product grid. And this is obviously nothing new, but the way we're actually creating this content now is just a little more refined. And this page didn't actually have the content. So just by adding the content here and then using the more refined process, we've been able to increase that ranking, and we've done nothing else. So and it's really quite quick to do with the tools we're going to use, and I'm going to show you and how you actually look at creating this content. So it's quite a bit of content, as you can see. It kind of goes against the grain a little bit when you look at some e-commerce stores that don't do that. But when you pull them apart, a lot of times you'll see that those sites that are doing well without content have got quite high domain ranking or DR, domain authority, or quality links going to their pages. So when you're in a position that you don't have that authority or DR or high quality links, this helps just improve the quality of the page and allows you to compete with those bigger sites. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go after a page that is not performing as well as we'd like, and it's actually going to be this page, horse wormers. Again, it's a sub-collection, so it's under horse health wormers, we've just got a standard H1 and the SEO title, and then also we've got our description here. But as you can see, we've got no content below the product grid. So we're going to go ahead and actually create that content now using the process. So the three tools you're going to need, or the types of tools, we're going to use ChatGPT, of course, which we use a lot in our process every day if it's used correctly. We're going to use Surfer SEO, or you can use a similar phrase or any other content optimization tool that you wish. The process is essentially the same, but we like Surfer. It works really well for us. On the AI side, you can use Claude or whatever you want as well. But as long as you follow the process, you'll be able to create the content quality that you wish. And then obviously also Optizen installed on your Shopify store, so you can actually add the content and create these unique sub-collections. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is head on over to ChatGPT, and we've created this custom GPT, which is a semantic article outline generator. There's quite a lot that goes in the sort of the back end and the prompts behind this, but there'll be a link somewhere in this video where you can actually just go and open this up and use it yourself. So first thing we're going to do is put in horse wormers. That's all we need to do is add in the keyword, and then click go and let GPT do its thing. Okay, so you can see once it's actually completed the prompt, it's gone through and it's created an outline, a simplified 7-section outline, and it's given us sections. For each section, we've got a topical concept, ideations, entities to use, microsemantic entities, and keyword variants. So it dives deep into semantic SEO and actually provides you with that outline. And this has been working quite well for us. It'll also give you an option of a second outline where you can have a 10-section outline, for example, and sometimes 11 and 12. So we've got this outline. So what I'm going to do now is actually just hop on over to another screen, and I'm just going to grab my second prompt in this process, and then we'll add that here in ChatGPT. So now this is a prompt that takes this information and actually now starts to create our article. So again, it uses semantic SEO principles and looks at things like taking out the fluff from AI generated content, where we prioritize our concepts and our keywords and our structure, bullet points, tables, etc. if it's able to actually create those, and a number of other kind of concepts within here. So that prompt will be there here, and you can use this or edit it as you wish also. So now that we've got this in here, we're not going to run it just yet. We're now going to head on over to our Surfer SEO console and actually run, well, I think I've already run this particular term I have for horse swimmers. So we've chosen our competitors. If you haven't used Surfer SEO before, I'd encourage you to sign up if you don't have a tool like this. Really great for content. And actually, there's plenty of tutorials online how you can actually use this in the best possible way. Okay, so we've actually got we've chosen our competitors. It's all set up, ready to go. We're going to click on our NLP terms here, and we're going to copy those NLP terms, and then we'll come back to GPT. And here we're going to paste them in at the very end. So we'll paste the NLP keywords in there, and we're going to just check what the recommended word count is from Surfer. So we go back to Surfer. The recommended word count is around about 500 words. But what we find is we can go a little bit higher with this process. So we might look at doing, say, 700 words, asking GPT to create that content with that little bit higher word count, and we're still getting good results. I think I mentioned before, it does fly in the face a little bit of conventional wisdom with e-commerce stores where a lot of collection pages won't have this type of content. But more and more we are seeing, even with some of the really big players in many different markets, they're starting to do this and adding content within their collection pages, either above the product grid with a read more or below the product grid as we are doing here. So now we've got our second prompt ready to go. We're going to click on Go for GPT and let it go through the process. Okay, so now we've got our piece of content. You can see it's created an introduction. We've got our sections, and we've got some nice bullet points here. So this is sort of the first iteration of this piece of content. So we're going to grab this. So at the moment, we're also working with Perplexity AI. Perplexity AI is quite good at generating information that's quite accurate and up to date. So we can use that information to actually feed into our prompts as well. So down the line, we'll probably have an advanced prompt for this process, integrating Perplexity AI as well. So, okay, we're going to grab our piece of content and we're going to copy it and go back to to Surfer SEO, paste it in Surfer SEO, and we'll just see what sort of score we get. So scores are, obviously, some people think it doesn't matter. We use it as a bit of a guide. It does help us with ensuring we've got all our NLP and our entities within our content. And in our experience, the higher scores do actually perform better using Surfer. Okay, so this scored pretty well, 81. We normally try and get above 70. We're not going to go through and read it just yet. Now what we're going to do is actually grab that. Well, we've got it copied already. And now we're going to go to the Humanizer of Surfer. So this is a new tool within Surfer AI where you can actually add your content in and detect if it's AI. So sometimes it'll detect it as 99% or 80%. Sometimes it'll be a lot lower like it is now, which is 31%. Again, whether the search engines actually care whether it's AI generated, it's controversial at the moment, but we want our content to be as unique as possible and also easy to read for anyone coming and actually looking at this content. So we are running it through an AI detector, but then in the next step, we're also going to make sure we edit it quite heavily from a human perspective. We do that manually. So even though we still have to go through that, it's still really quite quick to do this compared to writing, obviously, content manually as we did in the past. So if you don't have Surfer, there are many AI detection tools online. They all work in a similar way, but like anything, some are better. They produce better quality than others. You get 50,000 humanizing words per month if you've got a paid account with Surfer. They've also got a 500-word free version on the front end of the website as well. So I'm just going to let this run and then we'll grab this content. Okay, so that process is now finished and you can see it's showing us at the 0% AI likelihood. So what we need to do now is just copy it again. We can just click copy and then go and paste it back into Surfer. We just want to see how we've maintained our score. And it's come down a little bit, but still happy with that. Word count's a little bit higher, but again, as I mentioned, not bothered by that. Okay, now what we need to do is head on over to Optizen within your Shopify store. Again, if you don't have it installed, you can install the app. You'll need the Pro version to actually use to add content either on collections or on your sub-collections and tag pages. So here we have our SEO title, we've got our tag page description, we've got our SEO description, our H1, and here is where we're going to add the content below the product grid, and you can see we're just going to paste it in directly like that. So now what I'm going to do is go through and actually make some edits. I'm going to read it, make sure it fits with the intent of the users of this site, fix up some of the formatting and layout. I'll also add some FAQs here at the bottom, which we'll go through in ChatGPT. So I'm just going to go through and actually edit this now, and then we'll come back and look at what it looks like. Okay, so I've cleaned up this page a little bit and then added the content. I did actually add some further internal links here, added a little bit more information to relevant sub-collections, so linking relevant sub-collections to other relevant sub-collections within the same cluster. They also link, these collections and sub-collections also link back to the main core collection via breadcrumbs, and also in a side by filter on this particular site as well. So we've got things linked up adequately. Okay, so you can see here, I've just bolded these, made these H2. GPT actually created these as H3s. So I've got H2 headings here, bolded some of the important entities here, etc. got some nice bullet points. Then I've added in I just spaced out some of the content because some of it was a little, especially the way it displays on this particular site, some of this was a little tight. And now also I've added in popular questions. Below our common questions we get asked about these horse swimmers. These are H3 titles, and we've got our questions here. Now what we also did is we asked GPT for the questions, but create 3 FAQs that are not answered in the content and associated combined HTML FAQ schema code. So we want to create questions that hopefully are not asked all that much. Or certainly they weren't asked in this piece of content because we've asked GPT to create it that way, but also bring back some questions that maybe are not answered too frequently within the search engines, and we can get that information gain on our content. Then we've also asked it to create the schema code, so we can just copy that. We'll come back to Optizen, and we're just going to come up and edit as HTML. So I'm also just going to, just for the benefit of this site, I'm going to add in 2 page breaks to give it a bit more space at the top, and then we can just paste the schema in here. It does actually work by pasting the schema in the editor here, and it will validate within Google Structured Data Testing Tool. We're going to index this page, so it's got the index tag, or the no index tag is removed, and the index tag is now visible for the search engines to actually index this within the search engines themselves. So we'll click Save. And then now we can actually go look at that. We'll just open the page up and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so we've got our new internal links in there, our product grid, and now here is the new content. So certainly I could have added in many more internal links, 3 or 4 internal links to other sections of the site or other sub-collections, but I'm just going to leave this for now. I want to see whether this page actually drops now and see if we can get it moving up in the search engines. I think it's sitting, maybe page 2 or 3 at the moment. So what we sometimes do, but we're doing more and more of it because it doesn't seem to make a difference. We're actually adding this back into Google Search Console, getting the page crawled and re-indexed. And obviously, that can take anywhere between a few hours or up to a couple of days, and it'll get re-indexed, and then we'll see the effects straight away. If you want to be a little more conservative, then certainly you can just let it sit and let the search engines index and the new piece of content itself. Okay, so that's the process of how we're creating content for collection pages and sub-collections within Shopify. It's working well. Might be a little bit left of center the way we do this, and we'll get some people say that, it's not the way you should create e-commerce pages. Look at Amazon and those sort of stores that don't do this. But you've got to remember that Amazon is such a huge entity, and some of the other big stores, that they can get away without doing this. But they have other ways of actually creating quality content for their topics as well. And as I mentioned, we're seeing more and more of this happening with sites all over the internet in e-commerce, just trying to gain that edge. And it's working, so why wouldn't we do it? So you can see it's really quite simple to do. You just use a few tools. I mean, obviously you can create this content manually as well, but the tools just helps us do this a little bit more at scale. So if you haven't installed Optizen, go and have a look at it. It's got a few other features. It's got AI content generation for products, collections, and tag pages as well. So if you wanted to actually use the AI features within Optizen, you can do that. We just find when we're trying to be a little more detailed that we can still use this process, and it's working really well for us. Okay, thanks. If you've got any questions, just certainly leave a comment or reach out.